guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. Discussions and answers to questions do not involve the rendering of personalized investment advice, but are limited to the dissemination of general information. A professional advisor should be consulted before implementing any of the options presented. Encompass More Asset Management is registered as an investment advisor with the SEC and only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration with the SEC does not imply a certain level of skill or training.
And the guys are here, Clinton Smith, Galen Bargerstock. It's time once again to visit with them and find out about retirement and all of its ramifications. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you both with us here today as we talk about GCES, the services it offers, and we set up certain scenarios from time to time, and here's one for you. Somebody just lost a bunch of money, and there are two different ways people can go. I just lost a bunch of money, I'm going to have to work longer in order to make it up or even to live day to day, or I just lost a bunch of money, it's time for me to get out, I have to retire.
Yeah.
Either one of those scenarios. Go ahead and tackle them both.
So this is actually coming. We were at a grocery store in town, and the guy that works there, he's Bill, our meat guy. He always picks out the finest ribeyes for us. And he was telling us basically people there have lost tons of money, and one of his friends is like 64, 65 years old and just lost $60,000, in the last few months from his retirement funds. I thought that would be something good. It's not a client of ours, but it kind of goes off of what we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago when we were here. If you have a lot of money and you're close to retirement, you should not be playing the market aggressively whenever you're so close to retirement, because you're not going to have enough time for the market to go back up and for you to recoup those losses if you're retiring within the next 1 to 2 years. So that's why I thought we would talk about this. And Galen, I'm sure you've walked into this with a lot of people that have lost, because the market's been not great for a while now.
Yeah, it's like every day before the market opens, is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Because we're kind of in a whirlwind right now. It's up, it's down. Everybody's questioning everything about the economy, not just their investments. So really, like Clinton said, it really is important to have a plan in place before retirement, and then you don't have to worry about these certain scenarios. But there's always, well, we're here now, so what do we do?
Yeah. All right, so what do we do in these cases?
Well, honestly, you want to retire, you've worked your entire life. You have to be very realistic about what your needs are. And I would say, one of the biggest things is, look at how much you have going out. What are your bills right now currently? Do you have a mortgage, car payment, things like that? Figure out your monthly need. And then, talk to somebody, like us, call us, and we can help you figure out how much you actually need from your investments monthly to sustain the lifestyle that you're living.
There are a lot of people that say, can I afford to retire? Here comes retirement age, and I might be eligible for retirement, and I know I've got my Social Security will kick in. Can I afford to retire with that plus whatever it is that I've saved?
And honestly, it really is case by case, because everybody's family needs are different. Some people are retiring. It's a good one that they don't want to leave money to their kids because their kids are so much well off than they are that they live the dream, so they don't have to worry about supporting them. But then there's other families that are supporting, or people that are retiring single, widowed. So there's a different spending pattern on investments based on everybody's household.
Mm-hmm. When somebody loses a ton of money in the market or anywhere else, you have money set aside for your retirement. All of a sudden, that money is gone, or it's dwindling very, very fast. It is time to act, isn't it? You don't want to watch that just drain out.
Yeah. There's a few things, like you would want to be over 59 and a half to be able to move the money, so that's important too. And really sitting down with Galen, there's a ton of different ways. And when we were sitting in the car talking about what we were going to talk today, before we got in here, I asked him, because I'm not the financial professional, that's Galen. I'm just the pretty face, So,
Oh,
Galen,
this show just went off.
I asked Galen, well, wouldn't you always recommend a lifetime income rider where you won't ever outlive your funds? And I thought he was going to say yes. That if you lost a ton of money right before, and you're ready to retire, I would assume that you would need a lifetime income. But he said it more depends on how much you really need from that money, because the lifetime income would pay you out less, or pay out less over a longer period of time. But you might not need that less amount. It might actually work with the amount that you have in there.
Yeah, and lifetime income, that's an actual product, isn't it?
But it's pretty much a rider on almost every annuity at this point. You know, a lot of annuities will give a lifetime income where you can't outlive that income. They're great, they're fantastic if you need that income stream. But if you don't need that income stream, then there's no sense in going with a lifetime income. And why I would say no to that is because I'll give you a good example. I have one lady right now. She lost a ton of money in the stock market, but she doesn't need any of that money to sustain her lifestyle based on what her Social Security and her pension checks are going to be. She might have a $300 a month loss of income, and she still has, let's say dollar amounts, but she's well off. But the concern is, I just lost $80,000. Yes, that's a ton of money, but you have to think of not just retirement in a year situation. You have to think of life expectancy, and will that bounce back? And what is the need, the spend need?
Yeah.
It's very confusing, and that's why I say it is case by case, because I know some families that have to have that income stream to survive, and even if they're right on that edge, they're already deciding that they want to retire no matter what, because they've had it, and they'll just get a part-time job somewhere else. So many scenarios go into play with this.
Health even.
Yeah.
Everyone was at Giant Eagle on Saturday morning. I talked to another guy that we know from in town that he just had a major heart attack and was dead for 4 minutes. And he had no idea. He wasn't unhealthy. He was a normal, healthy guy that you would see around town, And we talked to him on Saturday morning. He's the one that said that, hey, I listen to you guys on the radio. And I said, oh, well, how have you been? And he came out with that. And I mean, that's crazy to think that he had no idea, and then one day all of his life changed, and that's something that we help people take into consideration too. Our companies have trying to prepare for the unexpected and also prepare for the expected. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
You don't know what's going to happen, so be prepared for the unexpected, but then also, we know you want to retire eventually, so let's prepare for that at the same time.
Yeah. The old joke that pastors use. You want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Because plans can be good to have and quite advisable, but you have to be able to adapt, to switch, and to react to situations that have occurred in your life. And Galen, that's really what it's about. And you've mentioned case-by-case basis. One person's retirement picture might be entirely different from another's, even though the circumstances on the outside look the same. That's why they need to come and sit down with you and really comb through everything.
Well, I think just the environment that we're in right now, I think everybody needs to have that conversation. A lot of people don't think that they need to have a financial advisor. One of the first questions that I got hit with a couple weeks ago is, I heard that this one was free, and I kind of chuckled. I'm like, well, it's always going to be free to have a conversation with me. It's the products that we choose that would be if there's a charge or something like that. But the reality is, if you're stressed out about what's going on, you should talk to somebody that knows what they're doing.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You said it yourself a couple of moments ago. It's really complicated. It's really confusing.
Yeah.
And so why deal with that confusion yourself? If it's confusing to you, it's because you don't quite understand what you're up against. You do.
Yeah, a lot of the times it's really that people don't understand how good that they really have it. They look at the negative on the accounts and what they're dealing with, and the chips are down, the market's down right now. But the reality is they have so much more. Their house could be paid off. They have a great pension coming up. Their kids are grown, stable. There's a lot of good to think about in all of this.
Yeah. All right. So, folks, obviously, we're talking about the opportunity to to really set yourself up and secure your future. Nothing is ever completely 100% secure because you just don't know what economies are going to do, but you want to put yourself in the best position.
Yeah, yeah, and it's honestly super easy. An hour-long appointment can pretty much get you on track for the next 5 years. Sitting down to talk with us, and you did say earlier about it's not cookie cutter. I think that's why we've done so well. Whenever we first started, we were working all with postal employees over a bunch of different states. None of them really thought that they needed a financial professional, financial advisor. They all kind of had this idea like, hey, I work at the post office, everything's going to be fine. Which it is, like your benefits and all of that while you're working, they can work the same for everyone, but it's really when you do your retirement planning that you decide what kind of cookie shape you want or what kind of cookie shape you need to fit in to your stuff. Because while you're working, it all works the same for everyone, but then once you actually go to retire, that's when things can branch off and you can get different things that really align with your needs better than what you would just get on your own.
Yeah. So folks, we really want you to get in touch with GCES and figure out what they can do for you. Maybe get a first step on what can be a really, really nice journey toward retirement. And it doesn't matter if you're 3 years away from retirement or you're 30 years away from retirement, you can help them out.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. How do we do it?
Give us a call, 724-915-0000. You can also visit us online at gces.us. We have tons of information on there if you want to learn a little bit more about us. There's also a contact us form that you can fill out, and we'll give you a call the next day that we're in, or just stop into our office at 1780 Philadelphia Street.
There you go. Gentlemen, thanks so much.
Thank you.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com.